Hi, I'm Abby, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I really get excited about self-advocacy. One of the best ways to be a self-advocate is to share your opinions through your vote. But voting for the first time can be confusing, so we made this little video to help you out. So let's get voting, Kentucky! Voter eligibility is a fancy way of saying who has the right to vote. Luckily, we have a few rules that make it easy to decide if you can vote or not. First, you must be a citizen of the United States. Second, you must be 18 or older by the election date. Third, you cannot be registered or able to vote in another state. Fourth, you must have lived in Kentucky for at least 28 days. Fifth, you cannot have been convicted of a crime, or if you have been convicted, all your crimes have been expunged. Sixth, if you are under guardianship, the judge needs to decide if you are capable of voting. That's it! Once you figure out if you can vote, the next step is registering to vote. There are many ways and places around your town where you can register to vote. The driver's license office, the county clerk's office, even online. The possibilities are endless. Let's listen to Nini's registration story.
In late January 2022, there was a voting booth in my cafeteria. I did not know they would come to the cafeteria, but I decided to check it out anyway. I then went over and asked this: if there was a voting booth. They said yes, and I asked if I could pick up a card to register. And they said that was what they were for. So I got my card and I filled it out immediately. And I turned it in the next day. I got a notice in the mail that I was completely registered to vote.
Deciding where to vote can be a challenge. The first way to vote is in person. This is where you'll walk into a booth and fill out a ballot. This means you need to know where you are voting, what time the voting site is open, what ID you are taking, and how you will get to and from the voting site. The second way to vote is to do an absentee mail-in ballot. This is where you will go online and request a mail-in ballot. The county clerk will mail you a ballot, and then you complete the ballot and mail it back in. It can be tricky, so read the directions carefully. Finally, if you cannot fill out a paper ballot, you may call your county clerk to see if you are eligible to vote via the absentee portal on your computer. Kentucky recently changed its laws regarding voter IDs. Now, voter IDs are required to have your name on it and your picture on it. Your ID must be issued from the state or federal government. This could be a driver's license or a state ID, or a passport from the federal government. If you have a school ID issued by a university, you can use that to vote. Or you can use any military ID.
Hello guys, welcome back. And can I tell you guys how much I had voted? Twice. So first time was an absentee ballot in Florida. So when I first got it, it was very confusing. I had to read a bunch of directions, and I had to figure out how to do it. And I soon managed to figure it out, and I got it done and mailed it in, and celebrated myself at a sushi restaurant. Second time was at a local church in my hometown. I did it in person. I showed the guy my card, and I went to a booth. At first, I thought I just went from booth to booth to booth to booth, because I had watched my mom vote too. and it was from booth to booth to booth to booth as I could recall. But unlike what I've seen, I probably just lose my marbles. I just went from one booth, dropped it in, and left. And it was pretty easy, you know? Done.
Every county in Kentucky will have its own ballot, and they can all look different. Here are 2 ballots from the 2023 primaries. You can see they have different names and different styles. That's because where you live affects who and what you were voting for. And it can change every election. So at the end of the video, we're going to put a link where you can go to find your own sample ballot for your county. Going to vote is a new experience for most of us, and it can change from year to year. But the people who work at the election sites are excited to see people vote. So if you need accommodations, just ask. One thing you can ask for is the accessible voting booth. This booth can accommodate wheelchairs, it has reader technologies, and some even have Braille. If you think you need the accessible booth, ask for it. Another accommodation is that you can bring one support person with you to help, but they cannot be an employer or a union representative. And if you want support but came alone, you can ask the election officials to help. They will send 2 people to help support you, and it has to be 2 so everyone knows you're being helped correctly. What is a voting plan? So like a lot of things, having a plan makes the voting experience easier. Deciding early on how and where you will vote, what kind of accommodations you will need, and knowing what issues are important to you will let you cast your ballot with ease. You are allowed to take a written reminder into the voting booth. So after you make your voting plan, write the names of your candidates on the back side and bring it with you to vote. You can find the My Voting Plan at www.KYSPIN.com. But we also have a lot of other great resources about voting for you on the website. So I recommend that you check it out and take a look at our printable checklist and our brochure with all the important dates and information that you need to make your voting experience go smoothly.